Hello and welcome to the very first episode of my podcast. I hope this will ever see the light of day. This is kind of just like an experiment for me. I got this like idea to do this. My dog's sniffing the camera and the mic setup and everything. So if you hear little sniffles, that's Miss Annie girl. Yeah, I got the idea to do this podcast on like Wednesday and it's Friday. And as my boyfriend says, like my ADHD brain took over. And I just like had to, I like did all the name research and like did the whole logo thing. And, well, I just wanted to see if it would stick. It just like felt like an idea that I like really, I think I've been like toying with in the back of my mind for a while, but my ego might have gotten in the way, and it feels kind of embarrassing and vulnerable to like put yourself online, especially like your voice online and your video and people really seeing your mannerisms. I feel like the podcast creators that I listen to or watch are people whose content I already liked, and then I really got to know them on a deeper level, I feel like, with podcasts. So yeah, that's really vulnerable and it feels kind of big. um, but yeah, this podcast, I basically was thinking of it in the sort of way. Okay, let me go back to the beginning. When I am crafting with my hands, I just feel like it's so maybe ancestral or just like so intuitive that I need a yap and craft. I need to be talking while I'm doing something with my hands, unless I'm on like nonverbal crafting mode, because that's totally different. But like, that's more like sewing machine for me and like quilting. But when I'm like hand quilting or cross stitching, I haven't done embroidery in a long time, but like something with my hands that feels more manageable, I need to yap and craft. I love it. So when I don't get that, because I just moved to a new area and I don't know anybody here, so I don't have any friends. And if my partner is busy, which I also like to give him his alone time and not not just like bug him all day. I really like to listen to podcasts because it feels like you're spending time with a friend, which that's a whole different like parasocial relationship thing that we could get into. But it's fun. I don't know. I just like the yap and craftness is there and it's real. And I feel like I wanted to fill that kind of space and create that space because it's not um, an idea that I've seen so far. If there is any, please let me know. Love to listen to some new creators yap and craft. But yeah, this space, I guess, this podcast space that I'm creating, I specifically wanted, and hopefully you'll see this reflected in the name if Crafts and Covens sticks. Um, but what it means, like a stitch along podcast, is what I am calling it right now, if that sticks again. uh, is I guess it's just like intended for me, hopefully, if I can like focus on talking and doing something at the same time. Um, hopefully we can like craft together. You work what you work on. I'm working what I'm working on this week. And yeah, it just feels like a collective space for anyone who might not feel like they fit in the crafting community in general. Especially I feel like I lean more towards like grandma hobbies, especially in like the arts and crafts world. Like I love quilting, really into cross stitching right now. Not into knitting, which I don't want to be. I don't need another hobby. I don't need another material to work with. But I feel like it's such a unique experience to be younger and alternative in that craft. And like, I don't want to make your grandma quilts and blankets, and I don't want to cross stitch something really cute and sweet. Like, I have a cross stitch that I'm staring at right here that says, "Let's get drinks and talk shit." And like, that's more the line that I'm about. And give you a sneak peek of this cross stitch I'm working on right now. There's a video component, by the way, to this, so go to the Blown Rose YouTube channel if you want to see. But it is the Demolition Lovers from My Chemical Romance as the Lover's Tarot card. So it kind of encapsulates everything I love of like alternative music. I still am an emo kid. I'm losing a lot of my shame, which is really great as I age. I don't feel a lot of shame and my ego's breaking down a lot. So I get to really enjoy like I feel like MCR and like Panic at the Disco and Fall Out Boy and all these like bands that I used to love in middle school and then felt ashamed of in like later middle school and in high school, like tried to act different. Girl, you always been emo. Like it's always been there. And it's just been so much fun to like go back and listen to those albums as an adult. And it's also around the time where they were writing those albums. Like I feel like going back and listening to them at the age that the band was when they wrote them makes me appreciate them on such a deeper level. I mean it when I say that these lyrics, these every little beat is in my bloodstream right now. In a good way. In a very good way. Um Little tangent there. Yeah, I feel really passionate about making crafts me because crafting is such a really great like meditative hobby for me. Like it allows my brain to like finally like get in some type of zone, get in the flow, like just like my brain is so there. And I didn't silence my phone while recording my first podcast. Rookie move, dude. Okay. But yeah, it totally gets me in the zone. I feel so good working with my hands because by day, at least right now, I am a scientist and sustainability specialist. So I use my brain a lot and I am really good in Excel and I like code and, all that kind of stuff. That it feels really good at the end of the day just to like have something tangible in my hands. Because I don't work, like I work remotely. I'm just like on my computer all day. So yes, crafting for me is like a very meditative, like personal care, self care practice. And it's also quite spiritual, which I feel like that connection is really interesting for me. Um, I feel like this creative energy, I'm like overtaken by it when I'm tapped into my spirituality and my body and like my prayer and when I'm giving offerings and like devotion to um the deities that I'm praying to at the time or my ancestors or just like the land in general depending on what kind of stuff is going on. But my through line is Aphrodite for the last 2 years. She's like I'm an Aphrodite devotee, so that feels like it's coming out a lot in my my crafting and all my designs. So yeah, I mean, it's so crazy how when you remove like a block from your life, like I feel like creativity just like pushes through. Like I've never had that issue, or at least since I have really gotten to like know myself and accept myself for who I am and not try to put myself in some type of box. I've really been able to like I'm not bored. I'm never bored. There's always something to do. I always have a new idea. I always have a new craft idea. There's 10 different quilting ideas and all these cross-stitching designs that are in my brain. Like I like can't get it out fast enough and like I remember the day that I quit my first big girl job, which was super awful and kind of a traumatizing experience to have. I quit that job and on my last day my boss like didn't she didn't come in all week. So I gave my 2 weeks and then she like let me go after the 1 week. She didn't see me all week and she didn't come in my last day. So I was alone for my last day in the office because there's only a few people who work there and no one wanted to see me or say goodbye or thank you or anything. Um, and I got a piece of graph paper from my little science job and I was in a frenzy. Like I could not focus on doing whatever, bullshit ending paperwork or whatever I had to do. And I designed a quilt that day. And that was the first quilt I designed. And before that, I made a couple t-shirt quilts for like like my boyfriend has one, and then I made like a little thing for my sister for Christmas, but I wasn't like into quilting. It was kind of just something I was like experimenting with, and that was the day I feel like a lot of stuff shifted where just like I took out that block from my life. Also, pumpkin pillow. Happy fall. um for those of you who are not watching the video, I have this pumpkin pillow that I bought from Costco, and it is like my favorite thing. Like it made me so happy, like so happy, and it was like $10. And I'm usually not someone to like buy stuff to fulfill like my happiness at all, just because it doesn't. I don't know. Stuff doesn't usually like excite me that much, but the novelty of having a pumpkin pillow is really adding some years to my life. Um. Oh my God, where was I? Yeah, okay. So when I quit that job and when I removed that like giant block from my life, I feel like my creativity has just like flowed like crazy. And it's been actually like exactly almost a year now because I quit in October since then. So yeah, since then I've been like really devoted to my craft and my spiritual craft. Hence the name of like that, like my like working with my hands and crafting and making art is so inherently connected to my spirituality and like my feeling of being alive, because I feel like to make art is to be human. I feel like that's the one thing that really differentiates, although I don't think we really need any like separation from animals at all. Yeah, my experience with art is so connected to my spirituality and my experience being a human. And I guess I want to like promote that. I don't know. I feel like everyone should be more creative and do more stuff with their hands and have that like mind body connection, because that's just been so great for myself and my mental health and expressing myself and feeling like I have refuge, especially I feel like in the subculture that I guess I'm in. Like I was a drummer for a hardcore band, a thrash metal, thrash punk band. Like that was kind of my bread and butter. So to be in these very like aggressive spaces, which I also need to get out that part of myself that is a very real part of myself, and then get to have some peaceful, working with my hands time. It's just been such a, yeah, it's been a great dichotomy and really good for my brain. So I guess I just wanted to encourage other people to try hobbies and to get out there and get out of your comfort zone. And you know I feel like I know that craft supplies can get really expensive, but like you don't need the top of the line shit. Like I quilt with free scraps that I got from Facebook Marketplace, which was super awesome. I got like someone's fabric stash, like super super scrappy, and like that really inspires me to make sustainable goods, and sustainability is always at like the core of like one of the causes I really, really care about in this world. So yeah, get some free stuff. Go on Facebook Marketplace, go on Craigslist, get some free stuff, try new craft. Unless you don't need any more hobbies, then we're in the same boat. And oh my God, finish your projects that you have right now, because I have so many. And there's like such a beauty in having so much creativity and so much, stuff to like give a shit about. And at the same time, dude, I am like constantly exhausted and overwhelmed by the amount of stuff that I put on my own plate. It was my fault. Like I did that. It was always me. And I am like sitting here like, oh my God, I have 5 quilts to finish, and I don't even know, like I want to like sell one for the first time. And then that also leads me to be like, I need to create an Etsy account. And I need to get my branding on par, and I need to do all this kind of stuff. And now I want to create a podcast. So yeah, but there is such a beauty in having so many hobbies, because I feel like it just makes you feel so alive to like have stuff to give a shit about. So when I was in much more of a less flexible kind of corporate position, I still have like I work with like a small business now, and it's really awesome. And she lets us have a lot more freedom than I ever did when I was working more for a corporation. even though that was a small one, but God, were they awful. Uh, just seeing people's lives just be work, and especially in these kind of more, maybe not even especially, I don't even want to say like especially in the science world, or some, their whole ego is around the education they got or what school they went to or what job they have. I'm like, but what do you care about? And at the same time, like, I really give a fuck about sustainability and earth science and environmental education, because that's what I care about. And I work in it, but in the same breath, I need to have a life outside of that, and activism and working in it. Like, I think it's healthy to have both sides. I also totally understand like needing to like put all your energy towards one thing. Um, in the moment, because it's like really important right then. But I don't think those are the people we're talking about. I think we're talking about finance bros who like go just to like work, and then there's like a work happy hour, and then like there's no, I guess there's not, like, for me that is just so depressing. And it was so depressing when I felt like, I felt like my relationship wasn't in a good place, and I wasn't living where I wanted to live, and I had this like job that felt like a dead end job, even though it was in my field and they had a path of promotion for me or whatever. It just felt so dead end. Like, this is it. Like, this is all that I worked for. So to have anything besides that, anything outside of that, like, thank God I had a sewing machine. Like, my tutu, my grandma gave me her sewing machine from, I genuinely think it's from, I don't know, maybe the 70s. It says electronic, like they had to specify that it was electronic. And we have a little visit from Miss Annie. This is my dog. You want to come up on the couch? Come here. All you video watchers are going to be stoked right now. This is my big baby. But yeah, like, thank God I had access to some like old t-shirt material and a super old sewing machine that I just made it work. Like, I don't have top of the line stuff. I never have. I just work with what I got. I hand sewed in college because I didn't have a machine in my, 200 square foot apartment or in my dorm. Um, and yeah, like, thank God I had some type of outlet. Because I also have like tried and failed a lot of times. Like, I kept trying to do watercolor and I got decent at it, but it just like, it never stuck. And like, that's okay. Like, I'm not a painter. I've always wanted to be. I think there's like a really sweet, like, there's a sweetness to painting, and it's also like widely respected. Meanwhile, like, crafts and crafting and doing more, I guess, like more 3D is classified as crafts and not art. And it's very separate. And like textile art is like a very separate and I think under respected um art form, craft form, whatever you want to call it. I'm not saying crafts because I think it's anything less, but I think, yeah, I've always wanted to like be a painter. I feel like that kind of more academic, more respected version of art. But I am a sewing gremlin. I am fucking messy. There's shit all over the floor when I craft, and I'm like a clean person at home too. And my partner likes to say it looks like a Joanne's threw up in here. And especially if I get a day alone, like, my partner is gone for 4 or 5 days right now. And I've been trashing the place with all my supplies and like all these ideas like coming into me at once. But there's such a, like I said, there's like such a beauty in having so many hobbies, especially in your 20s, because I feel like that's, I don't know why we feel like we need to like have it all figured out. And like this, like, I go to work, and then like my only passion is like pickleball. And I'm not shitting on you if you like pickleball. My parents play pickleball, they love it, whatever. But it's like, that's, like, try other stuff too. Like, see what else sticks. Like, I I I think I shame myself a lot for being like jack of all trades, master of none kind of thing. Um, I don't know. It's fun. Like, I'm gonna try out DJing right now just because it feels fun, and I'm quilting a lot, and I'm gonna start back into making clothes because I didn't do a lot of making clothes from scratch often. I'm like altering thrifted stuff a lot. So I'm gonna start making clothes, and I'm like getting, this is my second cross stitch ever, by the way. And I designed it. It took me 4 hours and I designed it on like what's that, like that software that you can use. And I like designed this giant piece that I started in March and it is now September. So I just like, I don't know, I like throwing myself in head first and I think that's good. And I think it's also like good exposure therapy to like failure. You know how humbled I got once I started watercoloring? So I took like watercoloring classes on YouTube for free. And it turned out really good because I was following it step by step, like super, anal. And then I tried to like paint my boyfriend, like just out of the blue, like just, it looks so bad. And I've never been able to draw either. So just like, I mean, maybe it looked better than I think it does, but just, I like my brain doesn't understand like shadows and paint and form and figures, and I think that's fine. Color theory, that's super interesting to me. I don't know anything about color theory. I would like to. And again, it's like stuff that I am interested in, but like it's okay when things don't stick and it's okay to be humbled by your own creations. Maybe I need to hear that again because I've been trying a lot of new things. I've been trying a lot of new techniques in quilting because, okay, let me give you a little history of my skills just for some context. I think I made my first t-shirt quilt in high school. It was fine. It wasn't like expertly quilted. It was kind of just like tacked down in random places using like all my old band shirts. And that was great. Didn't touch quilts again until I was like 22. And I made my little sister a quilt because I wanted to make my mom a quilt. I like got really inspired by patchwork and like the sustainability aspect of quilting, which could be really cool. So I thrifted a bunch of bed sheets and I started making my mom a quilt. And in thrifting the bed sheets, I found this fabric that reminded me of my little sister. So I made her a quilt first, then finished my mom's quilt, I believe, like a year later. Um, which I like, fully quilted these ones, but I didn't really understand the importance of like basting properly. So there are some tucks and some folds, and I didn't understand like what fabrics. You can use whatever the fuck fabric you want, but I was using like jersey, so like yeah, it was stretching weird. And um since then, oh my god, what else have I done? Oh, I also made my boyfriend a t-shirt quilt. I guess before I started my mom's, which really was a thing that got me back into quilting. Um if there ever was really in it in the first place. I guess I just made like one in the first place. So yeah, I kind of like spiraled my obsession from there. And now, oh my god, what quilt are we at? Oh, I made a baby quilt. I made a wheelchair quilt for my grandpa recently, and like that, I feel like I got all like quilting cotton like proper. Like I went to the store and bought stuff. I actually like went and bought fabrics that my grandma gave me, kind of like this general idea of like what she wanted the quilt to look like. It was my first commission. So well, for the video listeners, my camera from like middle school couldn't make it through 25 minutes of filming. So you're now looking at my like laptop camera. It's not great, but this is what we're rocking with today. This is kind of a test, so we'll have to work out some of the kinks in the process. But hello, welcome to my like grainy face. It's giving like very 2008 YouTube, but that's okay. There's something sweet about that too, maybe. Yeah, so creating that quilt for my grandpa recently, I feel like taught me a lot about, I guess, like just proper quilting techniques. And then right now, I just finished a few days ago, I finished my first free motion quilting. So I was just doing all this like machine I don't have a long arm. I'm not going to go pay to get it long armed because that's just not, I feel like it's not in the budget right now, which is fine. Just like going to my quilt Instagram to kind of give you some. So for video watchers, listeners, this one is, that's the one I'm talking about. In between, I started like 3 or 4 other quilts. So I have a bunch of quilt tops that I just haven't actually quilted. I'm great at the quilt top part. I'm even fine cutting everything. I don't like it because it takes like 6 hours to cut out all the pieces for a quilt. I mean, even more. It took me once, like, I think 3 or 4 Star Wars movies to cut everything out for the Twilight quilt that I designed on like my last day at work. And that quilt top has been done for months. Oh my God, for months. But I get really excited and I move on to the next project also because I don't like physically quilting stuff. So just starting this like free motion quilt a couple weeks ago and finishing it within, hey, a week, not months. Look at me go. That was fun. It was definitely a new skill, but it felt like once I got rolling, there's so many kinks to work out. And again, I'm consistently humbled by like my art practice that I chose to put on myself. Cause no one told me I had to put like the feeder dogs on the sewing machine down. So hey, I was fighting my sewing machine for like the first 10 hours of that quilting process. And then I don't have hardwood in my house, like a hardwood floor or a tile floor big enough for a quilt. My bathroom is tile floor. Little parts of my kitchen are tile, but it is carpet the second you stand in this fucking house. And I don't have a garage. And I just don't have any surface that is like a hard surface that I can baste a quilt on. So I originally tried to baste a quilt on my carpeted floor with a spray baste. And I quilted, I think, for 20 hours, and it took me something fucking crazy. It took me months to rip it all out again because the basting just wasn't right. So learn the importance of basting on a really hard surface. So I've been using my like tiny little desk and just like doing everything in segments, and it's not perfect. And I wish I had a better way, but that's what we're rocking with right now, folks. So learning just so many little things and so many little annoying things about quilting. Do you ever do your hobby and then you realize like, wait, do I like this? Because that's how it feels a lot when I'm quilting. Like not making a quilt top. That's fine. That's great. Love batch quilting, like blocks and stuff, because I get so in the zone. It is so good for my little fucking rat brain. But to like have to hold up like what feels like 1,000 pounds on my shoulder and sew and do the like machine quilting process at the same time. It's so annoying. It's like so, oh my God. Yeah, I can't get into it. So I think well, actually, I want to stop focusing so much on quilting. I'm going to finish all the quilt tops that I have done right now. And I think I want to move more towards patchwork clothing or even quilted clothing because that's like on a small enough scale where it feels manageable. But like big blankets and stuff are just not it right now. But if I do another one of those, I hand quilted my mom's entire quilt, which took me a very, very long time and me getting my wisdom teeth out 2 weeks off of work and on like Valium to like get it done. So I did. I genuinely did like 8 to 10 hour shifts every single day when I got my wisdom teeth out, just like flying and like hand quilting with some sashiko thread, which was really great to work with and really fun. Yeah, so I think I've never tried the same technique twice so far. Hey, had to learn what a quilting foot was. Like, I knew nothing, and I didn't really want to, because I didn't really want to learn from older quilters. Not that I don't respect my elderly or my, like, kupuna. Oh, okay. Well, I did, like, take a YouTube Hawaiian quilting class, but that's all done by hand. But, like, machine quilting, it felt, like, very, like, American to me, and I didn't grow up here. I live here now. I live in like the mainland US now, but I just like didn't really want to learn because it didn't feel as like culturally relevant for me. So it was very much so experimental. And I think that made it really hard and really great at the same time because I think I found my art style more so in it because I really love like geometric shapes, and although when people quote curves I'm like fucking props to you because that would stress me out. Maybe I will one day, maybe I won't. I'm definitely interested in it, but it really freaks me out. So maybe I'll stick with the angles of it all. It's kind of like how I prefer like embroidery, or I prefer cross stitch to embroidery because I like that kind of grid like, you know, pattern to work with. It just like it really works well for my brain. My brain's really about that, you know. Don't know what it is. Maybe it's the Excel spreadsheet in me. Damn. But I just like I really like having enough parameters around what it could be, and I know that quilts could be a lot of things, but like just traditional machine quilting, like more geometric shapes gave me the boundaries to be able to have like my creativity within that. Um so I'm excited to see where it takes me, and I feel like I'm kind of at this like cusp and turning point in my art style right now, where I think I'm really finding my voice a little bit more because the first quilt I made my mom, the only inspiration, I'm a Pinterest girly right now, so the a lot of my inspiration when I first got into quilting was very like, girl, it's Appalachian chic. Like it's up that holler, but like it's cute. Like maybe a little less grandma than I'm making it out to be, but definitely more than I think my art style would be now. You know what I mean? Because I like didn't have the, I guess the touchstones. Like I didn't have all the inspiration yet. And now a lot of my stuff is inspired by music and like albums, like full. I became an album listener after I started dating my partner. He really convinced me to have like to really listen into an album, like hear the story and hear it through. And now I feel bad because I can only like play one album for what feels like months on end, but it's probably like 2 weeks. And I just like listen to that over and over and over until I get it. And I, like I said, it's in my blood. So, yes, obviously, we've got Demolition Lovers right here. That's our MCR reference. I have another MCR um, based art piece. I have an entire quilt top that I finished that I still need to quilt, but I don't want to. But I'm finishing all my projects right now. I have a big list, and I'm not allowed to start anything new until I finish them all, is what I say until I start something new. But we're actually gonna finish everything this time, I think. But yeah, I have a quilt top based on the Three Cheers album. Like there's vampire teeth, which is kind of like something that they pull through all their albums. I guess that's maybe more bullets, but yeah, there's vampire teeth, there's crosses. It's very like goth, like kind of like mall goth, like super red and black and flashy and with some like cross imagery, and I loved that one. The girl at Joann's was so fucking rude to me when I bought all that fabric. I think it was February when I bought all the fabric, maybe January. Maybe not. It was like not Halloween at all. It was like very much so not Halloween. And oh, I got tombstones and vampire teeth. And she looked at the tombstones, was like, "Oh, I thought this fabric was cute until I realized you're getting dead people." I was like, "Girl, you're selling it. Like I not like she designs all the fabric herself, like this random, you know, Joanne's lady cutter, but she was like, oh, gross. Like, why would you pick that? Like, that kind of energy. Maybe she was just one of those, like, crazy religious people. I don't know. But she was real against my Halloween fabric choice, not in the right season, I guess. I'm into it. I was like, girl, look at me. Do I look like I'm gonna get like little Easter egg fabric right now? Like little springtime fabric? No. This is culturally relevant fabric to me right now because I am like knee deep in MCR lore that I experienced. I remember when they broke up. Like I'm in that where I'm like just old enough to get the tail end of the 2000s and 2010s like emo, and also young enough now where I could probably outdance all the elder emos at like emo night. You know what I mean? I don't think is there like middle aged emo? Because I know that like elder emos are fully like millennial, like they're a bit older than me. Although I think I have a lot more millennial traits than Gen Z. I'm that zillennial kind of cusp there, I think. Um, but like, I don't have like two kids in a 401k and are still listening to these albums. Although I will be when I'm that age. So I'm not judging you, girl. Like you do you. But I'm that like middle aged emo. Like, 20s, like early to mid 20s emo. Or there's like kind of a little emo renaissance going on right now where I'm seeing scene kids again, which is fucking awesome because I was a scene kid in middle school. I grew up in Hawaii and I was on this tiny little island and it was just me, girl. I felt like such a little outcast. And I was. And I was about it, I still did my makeup every morning. I still teased my hair every day, and that's like I've always been like this is I guess all I have to say. I've always been like this. So to create art that feels relevant to me and like healing that inner child part of myself that like rejected my interests for so long in an effort to want to fit in feels really good. Getting older might not be so bad. I feel like it just kind of life I mean life gets harder in a lot of ways, but it also gets a lot easier to like love and accept yourself for who you are and like know what you want. So that's been I didn't really think this was gonna be so reflective. Is this just turning into my like little video diary? Yeah, but I have a lot of thoughts on, and I've gotten none of this done, by the way. If you're just listening to the podcast and not like watching the video, my original intention was to be like actively doing this cross stitch while I'm talking. Maybe I can. Maybe this isn't impossible, but I got a little distracted because my little squirrel brain just started popping off. Because I also realized aka yesterday, I was doing this last night where, I had this idea for a podcast kind of like in my brain for the last few days. And I'm like, oh, can I talk and do this at the same time? I'm not sure because I was sitting there nonverbal for the last, 3 hours, given my boyfriend's not home right now. So I can do that and it like not be that weird, like, because I'm just solamente. So I've been just like quiet and my tongue was fully sticking out the side of my mouth, like just so in the zone. And so like I don't think I can focus on this following this crazy pattern I made for myself and speak at the same time. Like I don't think I can get an actual sentence out. So I still don't know if I can. I guess and it's also getting quite dark here now, which is fun and unexpected. Although it might not look like it from my window back there. You know what? This actually isn't that hard so far. Given that I've made like 5 stitches, but it is how it is. We'll see. Hope you're stitching. Hope you're getting stuff done. I meant for this to be like a space where everyone can come together and actually work on the projects that they said they wanted to work on and get some stuff checked off your list, because that's where I'm at, because I need to make space for new projects because I have so much inspiration coming in, especially as the seasons change. Oh my god. Yeah, to be that girl. Not to be that girl. Yeah, to be that girl. I am that girl. I have been so excited about fall. Like the day it turns September 1st, we're going through heat waves. It's 95 degrees. I'm buying pumpkin oat creamer at Target. Oh, and now I get the whole like white girl autumn. I'm mixed, but I get it. Like I now that I live in like the mainland US where it starts like the weather actually starts to change because growing up in Hawaii it is 75 degrees during not even. It's 80 degrees during the winter and 85 in the summer. Like that's all we have. Oh, sorry. And it gets rainy in our rainy season, which is our winter. Like that's it. So to move to the mainland, I originally lived in Washington when I first moved here. And that white girl autumn is so good. I mean, the leaves were crisp. There's crows. They threw something at me when I was walking one time. And then I kind of lived in fear of them for the next year because they remember your face and then like somehow like genetically pass that on to their kids. So then their crow children know your face also. So if you mess with them, which I don't think I messed with any, I didn't mean to at least, but I was like, oh my god, this crow threw something at me. Now I'm gonna have like a murder of crows. Isn't that what they're called? Um, like out for my blood for like I gotta move, and I did. Not that wasn't the only reason why, but I did. But yeah, yeah, white girl autumn, Christian girl autumn. I'm not Christian, but whatever the saying is, I'm getting it now. Like the leaves do change and there's big trees around me. I did live in SoCal for a while and like there was no fall. It was like straight up super hot heat waves through October. One year Christmas was 85 degrees. Like it just was yeah, I did not yeah. SoCal was just like not my vibe at all. I was not about that. So and the weather, like, it didn't give me, if I'm gonna live on the mainland, it's gonna get cold. Like, get cold, but like, don't snow. Seattle was too much. It snowed. I fell down a hill, slipped on ice. It's not fun. I got stuck in so many snowstorms in the last like 9 months of living there, because we started going snowboarding, and that entire state cannot prep for snow at all because they don't want to use salt because it ruins like the waterways and causes a bunch of other problems, which is totally fine. But I mean, like, they didn't even have like snow plow people on call. Like, every time it snowed, they'd be like, oh my God, it's snowing. Like, girl, we're like 2 hours away from Canada. Yeah, it's snowing. What do you mean? Like, get your act together. People are dying. And there's so many car crashes. And I would get stuck on, I think it was the two, like, Snoqualmie Pass area for 8 hours at a time. Yeah, and then when we got a dog, I was like, we gotta stop doing that because there's one time where we were 8 hours late to when we thought we were gonna be with her, and she was like 3 months old. And luckily, she was at daycare, and we were able to pick her up at like 10 p.m. because my partner used to work there or was working there at the time. His coworkers like let him in, but yeah, fall here, I feel like it's gonna hit. It's been like 65 to 70 degrees all week as a high, but I wake up and it's like 40. Fucking awesome. I got my pumpkin pillow here for you video people. I've been, I've gotten, this is maybe embarrassing. I've gone through 3 pumpkin spice oat milk creamers. Just because, like, I feel like it's gonna hit so good. Like, it looks like Twilight outside. It's ho 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 weather. It is. So I need to rewatch that. We just started rewatching Harry Potter because when I tell you, I'm just like, I get really bad seasonal depression, and I feel like the way to be against that is to lean into the seasons. You know what I mean? Like, to just be so about it. So I'm being so about it, and I'm also just really excited for fall. I feel like the summer energy really peaked in like August was so crazy busy for me. I had like 3 trips somehow. I had like a work conference, and we went on like outdoorsy. All my trips are outdoorsy. I would just like I love to be outdoors, camping, swimming, hiking, whatever, and we did all of that. We went up to Lake Tahoe. I took my boyfriend and my dog for my boyfriend's birthday, not my dog's birthday. My dog's a Sagittarius, not a Leo. Ew. Um, And I just feel like the energy of summer, like we went on that trip and we hiked 8 hours and swam for 4 hours. And like, cause the sun's up so long here that like I was doing so much and I really felt that kind of summer energy of like, there's so much going on. I have so much, like, there's so much to do. I'm outside all the time. I'm really enjoying it. I'm swimming, I'm hiking, I'm kayaking, I'm doing this and it's awesome and I love it. And at the same time, like, I'm so ready to retreat from that big social butterflyness, um and kind of like be in my like little crafty fall vibe. So it just feels like the perfect time to start this podcast and to talk about it and to be cozy at home and to drink my fucking half calf pumpkin pumpkin oat creamer in the morning coffee, and to rewatch Harry Potter and to rewatch. I'm really excited to rewatch more like witchy shit because that also feels so fall. Also, like the 90s in general, or like what the 90s are portrayed as specifically in witchy TV shows and movies. Like, I'm watching Charmed for the first time. That Revlon lipstick is working overtime on that show. What is it, rum raisin with like a MAC liner? Girl, it is working overtime. And that like just that whole thing feels very like fall, autumn. So I'm eating it up. I'm being about it. I'm into it. We'll see how long I can like hold this out. I'm also, I was born in the fall, the autumn. I was born actually in the morning after Thanksgiving because my mom went into labor, I think right after Thanksgiving dinner is the story that I've heard. So yeah, I guess this is just kind of like, I think I've always really loved fall, but I've never gotten to experience a comfortable fall because Washington got so rainy and so cold so quick. And then, yeah, when I lived in like LA, Orange County, it just was so hot and there was no fall. It just went straight from like 100 degrees into like I'm cold every day somehow. Like it was so weird. The weather was really weird when we lived there, and there's so many storms and all this stuff. So now that I moved up more like into like Northern California, where we got big trees and morning fog, and it's awesome. I'm really stoked, and I feel like it's gonna be a really good fall, and I'm just like excited about it. Like to be excited about a season. Maybe I'm just getting old. Maybe that's just like what it is getting old. You get really excited about the weather because the weather makes such a difference on my entire day and like how my mental health is doing. Um and I've just been so much happier since I wake up and it's foggy and I'm freezing until it's like if it's this cold in September, I think I'm gonna freeze my ass off in like January. Like when you're cold in your bones, dude, can't stand it. But I think I did most of my quilting when it was like 90 degrees outside and I'm like sweating, like trying to finish all my stuff. And I didn't get it on the projects, I promise. If you buy any of my stuff, don't worry. But yeah, I probably should have saved all the quilted projects for fall, but I needed that like kind of summer energy rush to like really get stuff moving. I've made like 5 stitches on this project during this podcast, but I really do hope that you've made more progress. Okay. I think I'll wrap it up around there. I'm at 50 minutes. Give a little outro. I don't really have all like my podcasty things yet, but thank you so much if you made it this far, if you're hearing this. It's crazy, girl. I don't know. I feel like there's so much of me that was in opposition to like putting something of myself talking and like my free flowing thoughts out there. So this is a really big deal for me, just on my own like personal journey, and a big deal that you listened, and I hope you enjoyed. I guess doing all that like rating and commenting and tell me what you're working on. Tell me how much you got done during the podcast. Tell me what fall movies you're gonna watch. Tell me all your ideas for other projects. That's also what I'm really interested in because I have 1,000 that maybe I'll talk about next time. But Instagrams, plugs, and all that. Here you go. If you want to see my like crafting Instagram, it is Blown Rose Studio. Just that. Maybe that's all I have to plug. I have yet to like create an Etsy and a website. And then like if you want my personal is linked on Blown Rose Studio Instagram. So that'll be easy to find. Yeah, and thank you for listening to episode 1 of what I think is gonna be called Crafts and Covens. But maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. But happy Friday. Happy Aloha Friday, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.